The story begins on a quiet night when something strange falls from the sky with a bright flash and crashes deep in the desert. A hunter and his dog see the explosion from afar. The dog runs toward the light, barking loudly, but soon comes back, scared. Suddenly, a loud, terrifying roar echoes through the night. The hunter quickly grabs his gun, while his frightened dog runs away. The next morning, a young girl named Rennie says goodbye to her dead pet lizard. She burns it on the grill as her way of letting it go. Later, she asks her mom, Linda, to take her to the store so she can buy food for her snake. But Linda doesn't like Rennie's creepy pets at all. During breakfast, Linda's boyfriend Chase joins them. Rennie ignores him, and in anger, Chase yells at her. Before leaving, Rennie scratches his van out of frustration. At school, Rennie feels lonely. Other kids make fun of her, and only a quiet boy named Gil tries to talk to her during lunch, but she barely replies. After school, Rennie gets upset when her mom comes home late and learns that Linda and Chase had another fight. Rennie tells her mom to leave Chase because he's lazy and always drinking. But Linda says Chase needs her, and she likes feeling needed. Later that day, Rennie feeds her strange pets and plays the banjo while talking to them. She feels her snake is her only real friend. At dinner, Chase angrily brings up the scratch on his van, but Linda stops him. Then he complains about a bad smell from the microwave. Rennie explains she was heating a dead mouse for her snake. Disgusted and angry, Chase throws chips in her face. Rennie feels completely broken and storms out of the house as her mom and Chase start shouting at each other again. Exhausted and upset, Rennie rides her ATV into the desert to be alone. After a while, she notices an overturned truck and a deep pit nearby. Suddenly, she turns and sees a terrifying monster chained to the truck, roaring loudly. Panicked, Rennie hides, then realizes the creature is trapped and struggling in pain. After a moment of hesitation, she bravely approaches and unlocks its chain. The creature screams and collapses in exhaustion as Rennie jumps on her ATV and speeds away in fear. When she finally returns home, she sees her mom comforting Chase again. Furious and heartbroken, Rennie decides not to go inside and stays outside alone. The next morning, Rennie steps outside and sees several helicopters flying over the desert. She realizes they're searching for something, maybe that same creature she met last night. Worried it might be in danger, Rennie decides she has to help it. She spends the morning thinking of what she'll need for her secret rescue mission. She borrows a video camera from her classmate Gil, trading it for her English homework. When she returns home, Linda and Chase are waiting for her. Chase proudly shows his 24 hours sober coin, saying he's trying to change. But Rennie reminds him he was drinking just last night, so his 24 hours aren't even complete. He insists he's trying and tells Rennie she should also try to be nicer to her mom. After he leaves, Linda says Chase really wants to improve, but Rennie drops his coin and says he hasn't even apologized yet. That night, Rennie finalizes her plan to help the alien. She sticks a note on her bedroom door. Busy with homework, don't disturb. Then she sneaks into Linda and Chase's room and steals Chase's truck keys. Inside the truck, she finds small vodka bottles and a gun, the last thing she needs for her mission. Rennie rides back to the desert. At first, she can't find the creature, but through her binoculars, she spots it lying deep inside the pit. She fires a test shot in the air, but the alien doesn't move. Thinking it might be dead, she sets up the camera and slowly walks closer to cut the net. Suddenly, the alien leaps toward her like lightning, knocking her to the ground and covering her face with thick saliva. It sniffs her for a moment, then steps back. Rennie finally gets a good look. It's truly an alien. Scared but curious, she tries talking to it and even offers an apple. The alien throws it away. Just then, the sound of helicopters fills the sky. Rennie panics and tries to explain to the alien that those machines are dangerous for both of them. By evening, she returns home and suddenly remembers she left Chase's gun back in the desert. As she goes out, she sees Chase drinking again on the couch. He tells her not to tell Linda and asks about his missing keys, but Rennie pretends she knows nothing. As she steps outside, something rustles in the bushes, and she freezes. It's the same alien, hiding near her house. Rennie tries to scare it away, but it doesn't move. So she jumps on her ATV and speeds toward the desert, hoping it will follow her and stay away from humans. Out in the open, she loses sight of it for a moment. Then suddenly, the alien appears right in front of her. It opens its mouth, releasing golden waves of light that cover Rennie's face. For a few seconds, her body floats in the air, and her eyes glow with a strange, powerful light. When Rennie wakes up the next morning, it's already daylight, and the alien is peacefully sleeping beside her. She feels a strange connection and hugs it tightly, deciding she will never leave it alone again. Rennie brings the alien home and hides it in the basement. Meanwhile, out in the desert, Helicopters and search teams are still looking for the mysterious object that fell from the sky. The next day, Rennie pretends to go to school and calls her mom to make sure she's at work. As soon as Chase leaves the house, Rennie sneaks into the basement and brings the alien inside. She tries to feed it, but it refuses to eat anything. So she gives it a little house tour and introduces it to her other pets, but quickly stops when the alien tries to eat them. She decides to name it Croak. Later, as she plays her banjo and sings softly, Croak's skin starts to tremble. Rennie realizes he's scared and whispers, "Don't worry, I'm here. I'll protect you." Just then, Linda unexpectedly comes home early from work, struggling with her depression. On the way, she receives a message from Chase, a photo of his new 48-hour sober coin. Inside the house, Rennie and Croak are watching TV when they hear the door. It's Linda! Panicked, Rennie quickly grabs Croak and runs outside. When Linda enters, she finds the house messy and takes her medicine to calm herself. Meanwhile, Rennie hides Croak back in the basement. But at that exact moment, Gil arrives to ask for his camera back. Linda lets him into Rennie's room. Gil looks around, finds an old picture of Rennie's father, and stares at it for a moment. He almost does something creepy, but stops himself, realizing it's wrong. Rennie soon returns home after giving Croak water. Linda angrily asks why she skipped school, and Rennie lies that she wasn't feeling well. When she goes to her room, she's shocked to see Gil watching her video, the one that clearly shows Croak. Nervous, Rennie says it's just a wild animal she found in the desert, and the video must be fake. She grabs the camera, but realizes Gil already removed the tape. He threatens to give it to the police unless she tells him the truth. With no choice left, Rennie takes him to the basement. The moment they step inside, Croak attacks Gil, but Rennie quickly stops him and says, "He's my friend." Croak sniffs Gil, who's so scared that he faints. When he wakes up, Rennie covers his mouth and calms him down. She starts playing her banjo again, and Croak's skin ripples gently, showing he's relaxed. Seeing this, Gil finally understands that the alien isn't dangerous. It's just scared and lonely. He gives the tape back to Rennie and promises to keep the secret. But what they don't know is that Agent Brown has been secretly watching them from afar, taking photos. Later that evening, Rennie hears strange noises from the basement. She goes down, sits beside Croak, and plays her banjo, sharing childhood memories about her dad and telling Croak how much that instrument means to her. She tries to feed him again, but Croak still refuses to eat anything. During lunch at school, Gil comes up with a new idea. Maybe Croak doesn't like pet food. Maybe he wants to hunt on his own. That evening, Rennie and Gil take Croak to Hellhole Canyon, where Gil has brought a few pigs for testing. There, Croak finally shows his true power. He jumps on the animals and hunts them fiercely. When he's done eating, Croak picks up a piece of meat and drops it in front of Rennie, almost like he's thanking her. Rennie smiles and hugs Gil out of excitement, but suddenly Croak roars loudly and steps between them, jealous and protective, as if he doesn't want to share his friend with anyone. Rennie gets nervous and later locks Croak back in the basement before heading upstairs. But as she walks through the living room, a drunk Chase grabs her by the hair and throws her onto the couch. He angrily demands to know about his missing gun. Rennie tries to lie, but he quickly figures it out, and she's forced to admit that she lost it. Furious, Chase says Rennie doesn't respect him because she's not afraid of him. He starts talking about how his father taught him respect through fear. Terrified, Rennie tries to escape, but Chase catches her again. She bites his hand to break free, and in rage, he slams her against the wall and begins choking her. Hearing her screams, Linda rushes in and pulls Chase off. Down in the basement, Croak hears the chaos and starts slamming the wall so hard that the entire house shakes. A few moments later, everything goes silent. Linda thinks it might have been an earthquake, but in anger, she kicks Chase out and ends their relationship for good. Rennie is furious that her mother let this go on for so long. Pretending to go to her room, she instead heads straight to the basement and calms Croak down, promising everything will be okay. Exhausted, she falls asleep there beside him. The next morning, an officer named Jonathan visits Rennie. He shows her his badge and says they found a gun registered under Chase's name, but her fingerprints were on it. Rennie lies, saying she was just shooting cans in the desert. The agent smiles and warns her, "I'm being kind now, but if you hide the truth, I'll be back with a warrant." Later, Linda notices there's no running water at home and calls a plumber. When she leaves for work, the plumber goes down to the basement to inspect the pipes and comes face to face with Croak. Terrified, he attacks it with his tools. In defense, Croak lunges and bites him. The injured plumber runs out, jumps into his van, and speeds away, but the pain and panic make him lose control, and he crashes into another car. When Rennie returns from school, Linda tries to talk to her seriously, but Rennie explodes in anger, blaming her for everything. Heartbroken, Linda quietly says the water pipe must have burst, then walks away to her room. Suspicious, Rennie runs to the basement and freezes. There's blood on the floor. She finds Croak injured and bleeding too. Gently, she tells him he can't hurt anyone else anymore and slowly realizes she can't keep him here any longer. Meanwhile, Agent Brown visits Gil and threatens him, saying if he doesn't talk about the alien, his immigrant relatives will be deported. Gil stays silent. That evening, Rennie rides her ATV toward the desert, signaling Croak to follow her. Soon, he runs so fast that he overtakes her. Gil is already waiting there. Rennie tells him her plan. She's going to hide Croak inside Chase's van and drive him to a safe wildlife reserve where no one will ever find him. After making the plan, Rennie hides Croak inside a big box in the desert and goes home to prepare for the trip. She leaves a note for her mother and frees all her pets before getting into the van. But just then, Chase, completely drunk and holding a gun, shows up. He drags Rennie out and forces both her and Linda to sit in the living room, shouting that no one loves him. In anger, he throws a table against the wall. Meanwhile, in the desert, a group of agents finds the box where Rennie hid Croak. But when they open it, the box is empty. Croak is gone. He's already racing back toward Rennie's house. Inside, Chase starts beating Linda brutally. Linda cries out for Rennie to run away. As Rennie tries to escape, Chase catches her, slams her head against the van, and points his gun at her, blaming her for ruining everything. Suddenly, Croak appears out of nowhere and attacks Chase, smashing him hard into the van. Within seconds, he kills him. Rennie tries to stop Croak, but he roars in anger and runs away. Just then, Gil arrives, sees Chase's body, and throws up in shock. He tells Rennie it's too late. He already talked to the agents. Agent Jonathan comes out and shoots at Rennie's ATV tires. Within minutes, government forces surround the house and set up their high-tech equipment. They tie Rennie to a chair and cover her head with a special net connected to a computer. The system shows that her bond with Croak is the strongest they've ever recorded. Jonathan cruelly breaks her finger, so she screams. That scream reaches Croak, who sprints toward the house. But as soon as he arrives, he falls right into an electric trap. Shocking currents hit him repeatedly until he collapses. Rennie begs them to stop, but Jonathan sedates her too. Croak is then taken to a government lab and strapped to a platform that keeps him still. Rennie wakes up tied to a chair in a different room. When Jonathan approaches, she spits in his face and says Croak is her friend. Jonathan coldly replies, "He's dangerous." He explains that Rennie isn't the first human to meet an alien, but she's the first to survive. The government believes Croak isn't just an animal, but a creation of a civilization far more intelligent than humans, possibly sent for reconnaissance before a future invasion. Because of Rennie's strong bond with Croak, Jonathan demands she hand herself over for experiments to help scientists learn how to kill aliens. If she refuses, he threatens to send her mother Linda to a mental hospital and force information out of Rennie, even if it kills her. Later, Linda is allowed to see her daughter. In tears, she says she read Rennie's letter, realizes all her mistakes, and apologizes, telling her she loves her more than anything. After Linda leaves, Rennie distracts Jonathan by doing exactly what he did, breaking her own finger and screaming in pain. Jonathan rushes in and covers her mouth, but Rennie bites his hand. Suddenly, Croak's thunderous roar echoes through the lab. He breaks free from the platform and kills every guard in his way. Sirens blare, lights flash, and chaos fills the corridors. Croak smashes through walls while Linda crawls through vents trying to reach her daughter. Seeing bodies everywhere, she panics. Jonathan and Agent Brown prepare with guns, but Croak bursts through the door, slamming both of them against the wall. Before he can finish them, Rennie stops him, softly saying, "Stop, Croak. It's over." She calms him down and frees herself using Jonathan's keys. They escape together. Outside, they try to reach a car, but Jonathan opens fire from behind. Gil rushes in and warns Rennie to take cover. Bullets fly everywhere. Jonathan doesn't care if Rennie gets hit. To protect her, Croak steps out in the open, taking multiple shots before attacking Jonathan and killing him, but he collapses soon after. Rennie runs to him, crying and begging him to wake up, but it's too late. Linda and Gil hold her as she breaks down in tears. Sometime later, we see Linda, Rennie, and Gil having a peaceful picnic, as if life is slowly returning to normal. But elsewhere, in a secret government lab, scientists are studying Croak's dead body, when suddenly his eyes open. And that's the end of Xeno. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie explanation videos.